Thank you so much for watching Riff TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview.
And there he is, Billy Sheehan, the legend. How are you, Billy?
I'm good, thanks very much.
Yeah, I see you got your bass there, and it's the same color as your walls, just about.
Yeah, kind of's got a motif going on here.
Yeah, no doubt. Are you one of these guys like I was just talking about this with somebody the other day? John 5 cannot stop playing his guitar. Are you one of those guys?
Yeah, when I remember my old apartment back in Buffalo, people would come and knock on the door, and I'd answer the door with my bass on, and they'd say, "Don't you ever put that thing down?" I said, "Not really. No, I'm playing all the time," and it's annoying to some maybe, but I got to do it.
Yeah. Where were you? Were you in Kenmore, Tonawanda area?
Yeah, actually Kenmore.
Yeah.
I went to Kenmore East High School, and it's a great spot, close to, not far from UB.
Yeah.
And nice little spot. A good, if I was a 9 to 5er, I might still be there. It was a very, very pleasant place, but my duty lied elsewhere.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, your travels took you elsewhere. As did mine. I grew up out by Darien Lake, and I've been here in Detroit now for 27 years, so since 1995. But
Wow.
all right, so you've got your show and tell with your bass. So I've got some stuff here. So I got the this record here. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I got that one. I love this record. And
You
then
know what the cover is?
no, tell us what this is.
Turn it that way. That's me.
Oh, no. So it is. Okay, I never knew this stuff before.
A lot of people never knew, and I never even saw it. I think I was working on Michael Schenker's record in England, and well, they did after we recorded this, and I came back home and they said, "Here's the cover. What do you think?" And I go, "What is it? Like a fire or lava?" They go, "No, it's you." I had no idea. So
yeah, no, it almost looks a little bit like the Metallica Load album covers, but yeah, now I get it. Okay, yeah, okay, I get it now. And then I got Live Speed on Ice, one of my favorites. These are all records I had as a kid, by the way.
Oh, great, yeah.
And
yeah, I forgot the place we played in Detroit. What was a big a venue, late '80s in Detroit or mid '80s?
Yeah, I mean Harpo's or Cobo.
Harpo's,
yeah. Yeah, Harpo's. What a historic place. Yeah.
I've still got cassettes. They've since been digitized from live shows of Talas from Harpo's. It's pretty cool.
And then the final one here, my favorite. I mean, Sink Your Teeth. I mean, just the title track alone is worth the price of admission as far as I'm concerned. I love that song. And Dave Constantino, I think I've told you this before, but I recorded my demo tapes with Dave when I was in 1988, and he actually wrote on there, "Hope the DJing goes well." This was in 1988, so here we are in 2023. So
incredible. Yeah. You got the new Talas record?
I haven't gotten that yet. No, I haven't gotten that one yet, but tell me about that.
1985.
That's right, yeah.
Title. And that's when I left. But it was kind of a way to pay tribute to that time in music. It was 1985. It was an explosion of bands. And in LA on Sunset Strip, it was like Mardi Gras every night of just rock and roll people and bands, and just the most amazing time for music. And so we pay a little tribute to that by finally correctly recording all the songs that we either didn't record or just were on the live record, and which we had planned to do before I left the band. So record did great. We charted on Billboard with it, so it was a fitting tribute to all those Talas years.
Man, in 1985, boy, your world went topsy-turvy, didn't it? I mean, that was really where everything started to change for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did, and it came all within about a week. Everything happened. It was amazing. We had just done a showcase for Gold Mountain Records. A guy, Danny Goldberg was his name, a pretty famous guy in the music biz. He went on to manage Nirvana later on, and is still an industry bigwig. We did a showcase for him. We showcased, I think, for the William Morris Agency, for an agency as well. And so all in the course of 1 week, we got a phone call. Danny Goldberg wants to sign you guys. He goes, "That's it. We got a deal. Amazing. A major label deal. Great." And then William Morris Agency calls and said, "Hey, We love the band. We want them to tour. Yngwie's got a tour. You guys want to open up for the Yngwie tour? I said, yeah, summer of '85. Well, let's do it. Then the next call I got was from Dave Roth's office saying, Dave would like to have a meeting with Billy regarding his movie. I said, what? So when I finally did get there, yeah, there was a movie. He said, yeah, there's a movie, but that's not really why I called you. And I was sworn to secrecy. So that whole tour with Yngwie, I knew I was going to leave the band when the tour ended.
Oh, really?
And it was bittersweet, but it was great getting back with the Talas guys again to kind of finish off what we had started in that situation. So yeah, it was an amazing year in 1985, and so it's been incredible adventure since then. Pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, no doubt for a kid from Buffalo. Now you're down in Nashville, correct?
Yeah, I've been here about 5 years now. We left LA. Well, sadly, LA is it's in bad shape and it's getting really dangerous. And
right.
If I'm on tour, my wife's home alone. I didn't feel right about that. So we got a beautiful, safe spot here and a wonderful neighbors and a great spot. We love it here very much. And it's Music City. So there's musicians everywhere and gear and anything you could possibly need as a musician is here times 10. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've been down there several times. I'm heading down there back in coming up in April. I'll tell you about that later. But you'll be on tour. Actually, you're coming here March 11th. You guys are celebrating my birthday weekend with me, so that's going to be fantastic. I can hardly wait.
Great, fantastic. Come on down. And if you're in Nashville, we're our last show of this leg of the tour. There are, as with any dog, there's probably 4 or more legs. we're going to play April 6th here. So.
Oh, okay. So you might be around when I come down. So we might have to touch base. So, yeah, I got something really cool going on. I'll tell you about later. But by the way, as far as Talas is concerned, to kind of wrap up that, Phil Nero, were you in contact with him?
Oh, absolutely. I produced the vocals on the record. He was in Toronto, and I'm here in Nashville. So we used a special program called Audio Movers. So my main music computer had the output of the recording console exactly in real time. I sort of know how they do it. And then we did FaceTime like this with Phil at the mic and the engineer there, Russ McKay. And so I produced all the records with Phil or all the songs with Phil in that manner, the vocals. So we knew there was a problem a while ago, but we didn't know that it had come back and how bad it was medically for him. And we, now that I know what I know, at the microphone, he was given 200%. He was hitting it like you can't imagine. He was just killing. And so great. Knowing now that he had that on his shoulders, I'm even more amazed at his inner strength. Yeah. To really dig deep, he sang amazingly on this record too, and knowing that he's in big trouble, and so after the record got done, things went downhill pretty quick, and I stayed in touch, of course, and I was in Texas doing another recording, and I saw my phone ring, and it was his brother, and I knew it. Yeah. So sadly, we lost him, and so the record, as I initially said, was a tribute to a time in music, but since then, of course, we've adjusted that is also a tribute to the legacy of Phil Nero, because he's a wonderful, wonderful, sweet guy, probably the easiest singer I've ever worked with, ever. So easy. And what a great performer, just a great songwriter, and what a voice. And listen to Crystal Clear on the new record. Man, he just knocks it out of the park. So great. So we're devastated with his loss, and we hope this record pays his legacy proper tribute.
Now, he was, correct me if I'm wrong, I never met Phil. We followed each other on social media. Seemed like a super nice guy, but was he from Rochester that ended up in Toronto? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, I think he married a girl in Toronto later on. After when I left, I lost touch with a lot of people because it was a busy time for me. But the drummer, Mark Miller, of course, who's on this record, on the new Talas record, and he's from Rochester as well. Yeah. So I kind of grabbed the 2 Rochester guys when the original 2 quit the band, and then we got the guitarist from L.A., Mitch Perry, who was also on the new record. The two songs he contributed to the band, Crystal Clear and On the Take, he played guitar on those for us. He did a great job of it too. It was wonderful to work with him again.
Yeah, that's cool. So Winery Dogs 3 is out right now, and a couple of things that right away strike me when you listen to this record. For me, anyways, obviously, the killer, playing from all of you guys. The song, the Red Wine, I really liked, and I know that you're a red wine guy. And
a little bit.
Yeah, and Mad World, I love that with the bass solo at the end and stuff. And Richie Kotzen, everyone says he sounds Chris Cornell, which obviously he does. But I'm trying to figure out what else he sounds like. Maybe like a little bit of Todd Rundgren mixed in or something. He's got this classic sound to his voice.
And he's a very soulful singer, and he's got those soul moves.
Yeah,
that a lot of singers just don't have. And he's really a strong singer too. We did 9 shows in a row with him a couple tours ago, and no problem. He sang a 2-hour show 9 nights in a row. Pretty amazing. Yeah, he's an incredible vocalist. He quit using a pick a few years ago, so he's all finger style now. Amazing. And listen to some of the riffs on there. I don't know how he's doing it, but it's pretty incredible. And incredible songwriter too. So he's quite a package, and is a joy to work with. Wonderful guy. Just a pleasant, enjoyable, funny. He's a lunatic too. He's got a bit of that in there as well. But he's him and Mike also. Mike being a supreme talent. And has so many other things he brings to the band besides his amazing drumming. He's a great singer as well, great songwriter, arranger. Always on top of his game. It's really just a joy to work with both those guys.
Now, I'm not a musician, but how unusual is it for a guitar player to just stop using a pick?
Pretty unusual.
Is it? I was going to say, does that happen all the time? I never.
I don't know. I think he was down in Brazil doing some solo shows. I think. I hope I get the story correct. It's an approximation anyway. And he just kind of tired of things and bored. He goes, I can enter to the next set without a pick, and he did, and it's amazing. I mean, he's just some incredible riffs. He played here on a solo tour, and me and a couple friends went down to see him and say hi. And the Nashville guys are going, hey, some of those Nashville finger picking guys, they better watch out for him.
Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time in downtown Nashville since you're there, or no?
No, not really. I love it. It's great, but I don't have a lot of time to go out and see bands and music scene. I'm usually, they call it a busman's holiday. A bus driver goes on a holiday. What does he do? He takes a ride on a bus. Yeah, so I get night off or a time off. I'm usually hanging at home and doing things around the house and practicing and working on my basses and stuff like that. But Nashville's a riot. Broadway is just a party every night, and it's really cool too. I'm not a country guy. I'm not do country music. I like some of the old school stuff, Conway Twitty and Johnny Cash, things like that, Dolly Parton and such. But the modern country is not necessarily my thing. But it's certainly the engine that drives this town. But there's a lot more rock guys in town now too. I think Tom Kiefer from Cinderella, Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick. I think Billy Gibbons just moved here. The Motley Crue guys, Ray Luzier, dear friend of mine, drummer from Korn. A lot of rock guys here. So it's an amazing music community. Really, it's kind of like what LA was in the 60s and 70s in many ways.
Yeah, I was down there for the first time in October of 2020. You could have swung a dead cat and not hit anybody because that was right during the pandemic. But during the pandemic, so obviously you were in Nashville. Were you writing and stuff when you had your downtime, when you were locked down?
I did tracks for people. I didn't advertise. I just got an email said, "Hey, I got the song. Can you play bass on it?" I go, "Well, I learned early on. I got to hear it first."
Okay.
There's a couple I said yes to, and then we got it. I go, we're in big trouble here. It was just not very together. So, and I only had to actually pass on 1 or 2 guys, and we ended up doing over 600 tracks.
Wow.
So we recorded constantly. My engineer was here all week. We'd get the tracks. They'd email us the files, and we put it up and do bass on it. Every style you could imagine, and some you couldn't. It was spoken word, death metal, classical, jazz, fusion, prog, rock, rockabilly, country, some real actual country, and just some. It was a great experience, though, to play all those different styles of music and try and do it justice to it. I'm playing a country record. It's going to be, play it the way it's supposed to play. And here in Nashville, all the country guys say, "There's no money above the fifth fret."
Yeah.
I think it's a great little quote. So, just do it righteously. And the death metal, do it heavy and, whatever, play accordingly. And I learned a lot because I'm not generally a studio guy. Of course, I've made a lot of records, but I'm not like a session guy,
Right.
But this, it really inspired me to push the envelope and understand what music I was playing and really get that correct feel and do it properly. And it was amazing to see what tracks. We get tracks and there's no bass, and a lot of times we look at each other and think, "Oh man, I don't know. This is now we get proper bass in there." And I'm not saying because it's me playing it, but just when you get real bass in a track, man, the whole thing comes alive. It was mind blowing. I'd look at my engineer and I would sit here and go, "Wow, there's a song there. This is pretty cool." And I'm just saying bass in general. Without it, man, life is pretty bleak.
Yeah,
It doesn't really come together. You get a proper bass line on something. It's quite an interesting study.
Well, when you're watching a band and like the bass amp goes out or something, like you notice it right away. But was this one of those things where like they would just pay you and you were like not get credit on the album, or did you get credit on some of them, or were some of them just like you did
sideman, typical sideman. You get paid for the thing. You use my name if they want, if not, it's a lot of guys try to, "Hey, can we put your picture on the cover?" I go, "No." And I hold on a second. Thank you, but I just, I'm just being a sideman. I didn't write it or anything. I give sometimes some advice about the arrangement, or I would do two versions and say, "Here's what you wanted, and here's another one that I think you might find fits it better." And they generally would agree with me on that, or do a combination of the two. So. It was a great experience. It was really good. So the pandemic didn't affect it. We weren't all that locked down here in Nashville,
right?
Even at the height of it, it wasn't that bad.
Well, I can honestly say I did come home with COVID, so
There you go.
What are you gonna do, right? Hey, so you got your Winery Dogs, of course, a lot of touring stuff going on this year. So what's the deal with Mr. Big? Like, what do you guys are you guys preparing for anything? You're rehearsing? What's going on with that right now?
It's nothing set yet. We're considering doing some shows to pay a tribute to Pat Torpey, our drummer who we lost a few years ago. No news on it at all. Behind the scenes, they're looking at the possibility of some gigs and such. It's not. We'll probably take a short time slot at some point this year to possibly do something, but nothing's set in stone yet. So we're. I wish I could tell you more, but I just really don't know, and nothing's been decided. But I hope it happens. I hope it. I'd love to play with Eric and Paul again, and we'll see what's happening.
But you said in interviews before that you guys do have a drummer, so at least you can say you have a drummer, or someone's going to go.
Yeah, we have a guy, but he has other commitments, so we don't like to get into it. And
gotcha.
He's in a position where we would prefer not to be announced at this point because he has other commitments that he didn't want to cloud the issue with that. But we found a wonderful guy, and he sings his ass off. So we're very pleased about that. We needed a drummer that sang. Matt Starr was great. He can sing great too, but he just doesn't have. He has a different range, and Pat had a higher range. So Pat, myself, and Paul would do this harmony burst, and Eric was free to continue singing lead or scat around us. So we need a guy to do that. So we have somebody that can do that, and we'll be announcing it and any more information regarding it ASAP.
Yeah. So just say it's Dave Grohl so I can get a lot of clicks, okay?
No.
I'm just teasing you, of course. Jessie Galante back home in Buffalo. She wanted to know what inspired you to start the Buffalo annual Christmas concert. Of course, you just did that in Buffalo in December. Yeah. You head back there. So what's that all about?
Well, she was kind of the inspiration in a lot of ways because her husband, Larry Swiss, the Talas record with me sideways on it.
Yeah.
He produced that record. And she ended up years later meeting him, and they got married, and he passed away sadly. And when I met her at a NAMM show, and it's hard to stay in touch with with all your friends from your hometown originally when you move to LA and you got all new friends and it's a much busier life. So I realized that, and as I'm talking to her, I realized, oh geez, I didn't say anything about her husband. I said, Jess, I'm so sorry, but I never, gave you my condolences for Larry. And she understood, and I said, it's because none of us really know what's going on in each other's lives at all. All the musicians we were hung out together back in the day in Buffalo. There's dozens of us that were in bands. We all knew each other. We all hung out. And so maybe we should do like a Christmas show and have everybody come on down. We can say hello to everybody and see what's new in everybody's lives, And so we did. And so for each show, due to the situation that was the conversation that started it, we do a little memorial for anyone in that year that may have passed on. And this year, I said at the end of it, I hope next year we have nobody. But
right.
Sadly, Ken Wilczak, he passed away. You might have known him in Buffalo area.
I've heard the name, yeah.
Sadly, he passed away, so hopefully he'll be the only one. But it's a wonderful show, a full horn section, a lot of great music, a lot of Christmas music, but we do a lot of other songs too. So if you're in the Buffalo area, Christmas time next year, you got to come down and join us. It's a riot.
But I know exactly what you're talking about, because when you left Buffalo, it was before like the internet and stuff. And now at least you can keep track of people, because there was no cell phones and nothing. When I came here in 1995, it's like, I would call people my 5 cent a minute weekend calls, because it's like, and that's all I had. Right. And so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I remember seeing the first couple of cell phones while I was in LA, and the big brick ones, the giant one you hold on to. You have two guys that hold it. But it was tough to stay in touch. I sent a lot of postcards, like I was on tour and stuff. Some of my old friends, I kept a lot of addresses and sent them postcards. But that was it. So now, as awful as some of the aspects of the internet are, it's one great thing is you can keep in touch with people. And for me, social media, all the people writing to me, and I'm very, very happy to hear from regarding the new Winery Dogs record has been fantastic. On release day, I must have spent 3 hours just answering stuff. Sometimes it's just click the heart or a thumbs up, but then, some people you got to really respond to. Some wonderful comments about it. And we ended up number 1 on Amazon, number 3 on their overall charts, which includes everybody, which is amazing. Shania Twain was at number 1, so
well,
but, good for her.
She had the cover with her topless with the cowboy hat on. That's what you guys should probably done, right? Just maybe top.
I don't know. I think it would have been a pretty bleak day for sales if I was on the cover and without my shirt on.
I'm just teasing you. All right, this guy has a question here. This guy Bumblefoot. We took this picture back in the day. This was in 2019, I think, at the Forge, and that was in Indiana, I guess. But he wanted me to ask you about the collaboration you guys did with that Indonesian band Dua 19 with some of the Sons of Apollo guys. That looked pretty cool.
We had a riot. I played in Indonesia a lot. When Mr. Big first went there, we played in some cities no Western band had ever played in. And when our little van is going to the hotel from the airport, people were amazed. It was, and the crowds went out of their minds. Wonderful, great people. And so it made a lot of connection with people. And Mr. Big continued to play there throughout the years. And we always had a wonderful relationship with them. So they contacted, I think, Derek Sherinian, keyboard player for Sons of Apollo, and wanted to have us play on this particular song. So myself, Jessica Soda, Bumblefoot, and Derek, and Simon Phillips on drums. And we got together with those guys to do a video about 4 weeks ago in LA. And I never actually met them. So wonderful bunch of guys, great people. Really cool song, too. It was an interesting song. And so we shot the video for that, and we've been in touch with them a little bit. And it'd be nice someday we do a show with them. Sometimes they're talking about that, maybe flying us in to get up and do a couple songs with that band. We're pretty great band. I think it's one of the most popular ones in Indonesia.
Yeah, that one's called Love is Blind.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool song. And they're a talented band, really, really good. And they started posting on social media during the video shoot, and I keep looking over at my phone. It's going crazy. I must have had another 200 friend requests on Instagram per hour
Mm.
from the Indonesians. Because like I said, we played in some cities. Most of them is Makassar, Pontianak, Surabaya, Jakarta, of course, and one other city too. I can't remember, but I'm not sure if it was Makassar or Pontianak. We were there, and in the hotel lobby, they had a little gift shop, and there are all these little globes of the Earth.
Mm.
And I thought, what's with all the globes? They go, we're on the equator. And so the city apparently was on or near the equator, I guess, and that was pretty exciting.
No, that's pretty cool for a kid from Buffalo to travel the world like that. Now, you've been to places, and Mr. Big really has a stronghold in places, especially outside the U.S., doesn't it?
Yeah, we when Nirvana came out and the world went grunge, we had some amazing years. Matter of fact, in Japan, the statistic is we outsold Pearl Jam 40-1.
Wow.
And they're up, and because a lot of Japanese folks are, why are they dressing in old clothes? What's wrong? Why isn't anybody happy? You know? But I mean, I love Pearl Jam, and they deserve. Of course, they did fantastic in USA. Good for them. They deserve it. But yeah, we played in the Philippines was huge. Thailand, Hong Kong, Taiwan, mainland China, Australia, all over South America, all over Europe, Russia, Scandinavia, England, Ireland, Scotland, you name it. We played everywhere. At one point in Italy, there were 4 Mr. Big copy bands. In Japan, there's 2 or 3 now. Korea just went nuts. It's so great. People kind of lump that world into one there, but each country has a whole different culture and a whole different thing. It's quite fascinating. And I'm very lucky. I got friends in a lot of places, and I'm very happy about it.
I was just texting with some of my friends today. Obviously, as you know, I've been telling you here, but Tyler from Theory of a Dead Man, I was talking to those guys about hockey or something. Say, I'm talking to Billy Sheehan later, and Tyler says, this is an interesting question. You probably answered it a lot of times, but who's the best guitar player you ever played with? That's probably a trick question, but can you name that?
It would be tough.
Yeah.
Richie, Paul Gilbert, Steve Vai, Tony McAlpine. Who did I leave out? Bumblefoot, yeah, amazing, unbelievable. I think all of them are at or near the same level in a lot of ways, but they're at some point at that altitude, it's just a matter of personal choice.
Yeah.
It's like drummers. I'm real lucky to play with great drummers, but I do have to choose one out of all of them. That's Dennis Chambers. And when you ask drummers, who's really the best? Dennis Chambers, Dennis. But Dennis, Steve Gadd, Vinnie Colaiuta, a couple guys like that. They're at the top of the strata. That it's just a matter of personal choice now. And the guitarists I've worked with, and I'm very honored to have worked with everybody. I did a photo shoot with we had a dinner with Larry DiMarzio, who makes guitar pickups, and Steve, Richie, Paul Gilbert, all use DiMarzio. So we had a photo of all 4 of us together, and I kept it. Here's me and my guitar players. but yeah, Bumblefoot and Tony McAlpine is mind blowing, and he's an actual real classical pianist, not a guy that learned a couple of things. I mean, he sits down and does Liszt and Rachmaninoff and just amazing. And then with one hand, he's fingering the guitar and playing. 2 complete separate minds required. Pretty amazing. Yeah, so it'd be tough to pick one. Paul Gilbert, what an amazing phenomenon of drive to know more about music and be a better player. Not necessarily a faster player, but just to know so much more broad spectrum of music and how to handle it on instrument. Amazing. Steve Vai, pretty tough to compare him to anybody. He's really a phenomenon of nature, like a brother to me. I love him completely. All these guys, all these guys, I have nothing but love for all of them. Steve is quite a phenomenon. It's unbelievable.
I just talked to him a few weeks ago, and I told him that that band you guys were in with, David Lee Roth's band, for me is one of the top bands of the '80s, and it's hard to argue. It's so good.
We had a riot. It was quite an adventure, and this huge stage, me and Steve running back across, flying around. And a lot of times I go on the other side of the stage and I can't hear any bass at all. I'm playing by visual. I hope I'm on the right note. And, we had what an adventure! What an amazing thing! Geez, we sit around, have a couple glasses of wine, and the stories start coming hot and heavy, and it's a riot. I got a videotape or audio record one of our hanging out sessions one time. I don't think we're going to release it. We're going to have to wait till a few more people pass away before we can release that. So we'll see. Just kidding.
Final question here from my friend JD from Black Label Society, a school bass player, went to Berkeley, the whole thing. I'm like, hey, I'm talking to Billy Sheehan today. What should I ask him? He goes, when will the Sabres win a Stanley Cup? That was his question.
Yeah, maybe when the Bills win the Super Bowl. I don't know, but Bills did good this year. I haven't followed football as closely as I used to.
Yeah.
But Buffalo is a hockey town, and it's also a Bills town, football town. So it's I think if the Stanley Cup were won or the Super Bowl, that party would last for about 6 months. I think about 6 months they would go. Because that town, for a while, a few years ago, there was talk of somebody buying the Bills and moving them somewhere. And oh man, that would be like, well, let's just rip your heart out and take it out. You'll be fine. You know.
I think that was John Bon Jovi, and they're going to move him to Toronto or something.
I didn't want to mention it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's you that mentioned it, so you get it.
Right. Well, I guess people could Google it or whatever they wanted to.
Oh, that's another guitarist. The guitarist with John Bon Jovi now, Phil X.
Phil, yeah.
And what a great player and singer. Just a supreme talent. So anyway,
yeah.
Maybe that'll exonerate you from mentioning that it was John Bon Jovi.
That's right. Yeah. Almost ripped the heart out of Buffalo. That's right. So, all right. Winery Dogs 3 is out. She'll be in Detroit here at the Token coming up on March 11th, celebrating my birthday. And
great. You going to be there?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Great.
will.
Oh, fantastic.
God, there's a lot of concerts coming through town in March. So I got to save my liver for a few of them here. And I think that will be
Pace yourself. Pace yourself. That's important.
That's right. Well, Billy,
whatever you start with, stick with that for the whole night.
I've learned my lesson that way. Yeah, that's for sure. Exactly. Yeah, truer words were never spoken. Billy, thank you so much for the time.
It's my pleasure. Great to see you. I look forward to seeing you on the 11th. I'll be the first to wish you a happy birthday, and we'll tip a few in your honor for sure. And we'll see you there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You take care.